Listen to Career Paths by Implement every Thursday.
You might learn something.
You might not.
Available on Apple Podcasts,
On Spreaker,
Spotify,
on Google.
and iHeartRadio. It's your life. Make it happen. Told me I have to give him a pause so he has a little more time to edit. So,
You're good.
thanks, Dad. Welcome to Career Paths by Infonet. I'm your host, Victor Boudreau. Today, our guest is Carlos Morales. Hi, Carlos.
Hi.
How you doing?
Better than I deserve.
Wow. Stole that line, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Hmm. Carlos, what are you doing presently? I met you a while back. You were at a different job, and we'll cover that. But what are you doing presently that you're working on for your career/job?
Well, I currently have a startup that I'm doing with my wife. It's an adult family home. And what that is we take care of our wonderful elderly people
Nice.
or people with disabilities.
Right.
And we're getting that up off the ground. We have a building going and
Just putting
We're not-
everything together for that.
putting everything together right now.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So, give us some background. You're married, kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am married and I have 3 kids.
Do you want to say their names so that in case they hear this?
Yeah, absolutely. So
You
my
love your
wife
children?
Donna, the oldest Carlos, Ava, and in the middle Josiah. So
Wow. And how long have you been married?
I've been married for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. Not easy, is it? I mean, there's ups and downs in marriage.
There's always in anything that you do.
True, but a lot of people when they get married these days, from what I understand, they don't get that. It's easier to jump ship. Grass is greener.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if that's what you get married for, I didn't really get married to be happy. I kind of got married to make her happy.
Wow. There's old school. Nice.
Yeah.
Anything else we should know about you?
I besides I just got back from Worlds in Florida.
World. When you say worlds, what is that?
Jiu-jitsu. I practice jiu-jitsu. That's
Worlds
my-
and what is worlds in
It's
Florida?
World Championship tournament for jiu-jitsu.
Wow. Does everybody from around the world come to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And
They can.
you just got
Without
back from that.
restrictions.
I saw some pictures online because we are friends online. And
We are.
how well did you do at the World Championship?
Well, I had some time to prepare more than I have for any other tournament, and I also got COVID 6 weeks before that happened, so that kind of put a wrench in the situation. But I ended up getting second place. I lost by a referee's decision, which is not really like a point, but the guy won. So
Finally, but second place
second place, yeah,
with COVID 6 weeks before,
yeah.
and because of what's going on in the world, you really didn't train regularly.
I really couldn't. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it, jiu-jitsu. I've
Yes.
been doing it for over 3 years.
Wow.
I love it. I've done other hobbies, snowboarding, BMX, and everything is just kind of dull now after you learn how to murder people for fun.
Not technically murder, but physically get involved in. Wow, second place.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Wasn't easy, was it?
It was the
Fun?
process was the enjoyable part. And
It is the journey typically
yeah,
in life.
because I was pretty stressed out 6 weeks prior to that, and I'm like, what? Because I already paid for the tickets. I don't have any sponsors,
Can you
and
get sponsors now because you took second? Have you looked into that?
I haven't looked into
Okay,
that.
We'll talk later.
Yeah.
So before that, okay, so we're gonna back. That's your hobby. That's your passion,
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu, and obviously you did very well. Congratulations.
Thanks.
What did you do? You're working on the home to help elderly and disability.
Yeah.
Before that, what were you doing?
So before that, I was in retail management for different retail wireless providers,
So like cell phone and so on.
cell phones and
Tablets.
internet,
Nice.
tablets.
How
all
long
that.
did you do that?
I did that for almost 12 years.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna back. You're from California originally.
Originally from California.
How long you been in the Northwest?
In the Northwest, I've been in the Northwest for a bit over 13 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So I am from the Northwest now. I'm originally from California, but I am a resident from the Northwest.
You're here. You've
I'm
been
here.
here.
I'm here to stay.
You're,
My wife wants to go to California in end of spring, and I was cringing about it. One thing that brings me back to California is I do have family there,
Right. Well, yeah.
and my uncle just opened a restaurant which has really good food.
Well, I'm going to get the name and number of him, so when I go visiting a friend down there, I'll go hit
Absolutely.
him up. Go, Carlos sent me, man. Said
Yeah.
you'd hook me up.
Hugo's in Livingston. It's awesome.
There you go.
Plug.
There you go. Easy. That's right. Got to do what you got to do. So, graduated high school.
Yes.
Out of high school, did you go into a trade or did you go to college?
I did I went into college for a trade, and
What was that? What'd you go-
welding.
Welding.
I thought I was going to be a welder, so in high school I took all the shop classes.
Okay.
I was a fairly decent welder, and I did a minor in business and major in welding, and ended up getting a job in welding. I learned how to weld way better actually doing the trade versus reading about it and practicing it. And I just quit
on
going
the
to school.
job.
On the job.
on the job.
Yeah, on the job.
Okay.
I excelled, and I was like, why am I paying somebody to show me how to do this when somebody can pay me
Right.
how to do it?
So when you were on the job, you had somebody help give you some direction, though? Yes, no, or was it just trial and error while you're doing it? Because you already had some training.
I already had a base from
Right.
from high school. That's one of the things that I haven't seen in some of the high schools here is they don't have shop classes.
Things have changed.
Yeah. Well, I had that base, so
Right.
I kind of just jumped into it, and the people that I worked with were nice enough to show me some pointers and stuff like that. And when your job is on the line, you kind of don't have a choice but to pay attention and learn.
Right. Wow. Obviously you did. How long did you do that? The job. So you quit the college
Yeah,
while you got the job while you're in college.
got the job while I was in college.
Decided you're doing it. Then you decided screw that, screw college at that point because you're already doing
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So where'd you go from there?
I did that for about a year and a half, and there was like 18-hour shifts,
Wow.
and just like almost everything that I do, I dive into it 110%,
Right.
and that extra 10% kills me, and I absolutely hate it, and I don't ever do it again. Then I moved into machine work. I was a press operator for about a year before I moved to Spokane.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why did you end up coming to Spokane?
So while I was a press operator, they were
Mhm.
doing these. Was it 2007, 2008 when there was the recession that we had,
I believe so.
and there was a bunch of layoffs, and I had about $1,200 in my pocket, and I purchased a Greyhound ticket for $147. I remember that amount, and it was a 27-hour trip from California where I
a
live.
bus. Yeah,
On
bus
a
takes,
bus, yeah.
takes forever.
It was the worst experience ever. I was in a bus with a bunch of convicts that just got released for 27 hours,
Huh.
all the way up to Spokane.
Well, good for you.
Nothing against convicts.
No, it certainly would be an experience.
I didn't know jiu-jitsu at the time, so I was a little scared.
And you're not. How tall are you? You're a smaller gentleman. You've talked about this. I
Yeah.
know we've chatted, and I've seen online talking about the inspiration because you're not a tall gentleman.
No.
How tall are you?
Well, I used to be 5'3", but I'm like about 5'2" and some change now.
It's all
The
good.
older you get, you shrink, so.
Apparently my father was 5'4" originally, and I kept getting shorter as I got older. So that's inspired you. Being that's held you back on a lot of things, or has it? I know it has because I've read stuff that you've posted, how it's affected you, other things in your life have affected you, but you just kept going,
Yeah.
deciding screw that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
for
figure this
sure.
out.
I mean that's
And people need to know that.
That's the most obvious thing about me when like say you have a conversation with me over the phone or what have you. The first thing that you're gonna notice is that I am a shorter guy.
Yeah.
I got short legs. I like to call them sport legs. It's like a
They-
Lamborghini. They're low to the ground.
And they obviously work well.
But yeah, I mean, growing up, that was everything. Oh, you're short. But kids will be kids.
Yeah, correct. It's good and bad. It can toughen you up. I know. Quick story. My father was short,
Mhm.
but when he was older, when I was around, people would make fun of it. And it was like it wasn't a big deal. I mean, come on, it's life.
Yeah,
Move forward. It's
absolutely.
Everybody has their pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
So you moved to Spokane. Why? Just why Spokane of all places? And What happened?
That's a good question. So my mom moved up here, like
Okay.
out of the blue. Somebody offered her a job.
Okay.
She owned a restaurant, and the restaurant had burnt down. But she had a few lunch trucks, and she was
In this
selling
area or down there?
down there.
Okay, down in
So
California.
she was kind of at a desperate situation as well, and she no longer had her business, and she was selling some of her lunch trucks. And somebody had called the house and asked if they wanted to give her a job up here in the Northwest. And I didn't think anything of it. I wrote it down and I threw it on the counter. And my mom was like, "Whose number is this?" So I was like, "I don't know. Some jerk called saying if you want to go work up in Washington. That's weird." A week later, she's like, "Oh, we're moving to Washington. Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Hell no."
Right. Yeah.
You guys
never
living
been
in
there.
igloos up there or something? I didn't know.
Yeah, the misconception of what
Yeah.
what is
So my mom brought me up here.
okay.
Yeah.
And so when you got up here, what did you do? What did you do? Did you have a direction? You're gonna do welding, machine work? Where'd you go?
I thought I was just gonna come up and work at a warehouse or maybe
Whatever. You're just getting up here.
I was
New,
just gonna
new fresh start.
just check it out. And some folks were like, you know what? Don't do the warehouse. Go to the mall and go see how retail will work out for you. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Had you done retail at all before?
The closest thing that I did was I was a meat clerk
Okay.
at a grocery store.
Okay, that's close. So you went around you in the malls and what'd you find?
So I went around and I handed out a resume at my first place that was like a wireless.
Wireless
I
phone.
remember
internet?
Joe Drexel. I gave him my resume, and he was the manager at the time, and he didn't hire me. And so I went to, I handed out my resume at a toy store,
Mhm.
and I told him, I was like, dude, I'll work for free for you, just so you can see how I work.
Right.
And
I'll prove myself.
they still didn't hire me, but I still worked for free for that one day. They hired some other guy. He never showed up, so I was in. That was my first retail job, and I got paid for playing with toys, which was
Yeah, how rough
an
is that?
awesome job.
And you talk to people about toys.
Yeah.
I could do that. So where'd you go from there? How long did you do that?
I did that for one season, and we onboarded some kid that worked for the cell phone place where I wanted to work, and no offense to the kid, but he was kind of a doofus. I was like, well, they hired this kid, why can't I go over there? So I updated my resume, I cleaned it up, and I marched over there, and I talked to a different manager that was there at the time, and I told him, I was like, here's my resume, I can start working on Monday. And he's like, okay. And so I showed up Monday, and I'm like, I'm here to work. He's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I told you I could start working on Monday. I just assumed that I was hired. And he's like, okay, well, fill out this W-2 form, and we'll get you on.
Wow.
That was it.
So you kind of fell into it.
I kind of forced my way into
There you
it.
go. Okay, forced. I like that. Not fell into it. You made it.
I just kind
I'm
of
here.
assumed.
I want it.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yep.
So you got into that. You didn't have any experience selling wireless internet phone stuff before that.
None.
On the job training.
On the job training. Yeah.
Look at you. Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. They didn't really have a huge expectation of.
So
You
that
know.
was easy for you. I'm joking. I'm being mean. I could screw up and still. But once again, you do 110. So you delved into it. Was there somebody that helped you or guided you in that situation? 'Cause you talked about Joe before.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't there. A different situation.
Joe was still there, so I ended up being Joe's boss after a while. So I would say I have had some decent mentors. My Aunt Lupe, she is a business owner.
Mhm.
She's owned multiple businesses. So she's kind of been my mentor. So
Okay.
I've asked her. She's like, you need to pay attention to what everybody else does,
Okay.
and whoever's doing well, mimic what they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll figure the rest out.
So you've actually had people guiding you along the way, intentionally, unintentionally, and you actually might have paid attention a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to pay attention.
Sometimes you have to pay attention. Yeah.
So just not to interrupt, and we'll get back to. Do you find people now that you mentor and you've mentored
Yeah, I have a
Last-
few people. Yeah.
still in contact with them?
Yeah.
Good. So you didn't after the school. So you just gone from one situation to the next situation. So you're in the wireless.
Mhm.
How did you become? You said you become the manager at that
Mhm.
situation. How long did it take, and what did you do besides just try to excel? Obviously, 110%. I'll use your term.
Yeah.
What else did you do to progress, and how long did that take you to do that? With the same store, same situation?
Yeah.
It's just step.
So I think the first thing that has helped me out in a lot of the careers that I've had is the enthusiasm that I've had coming into it.
Right.
So I get excited about going to work,
That
and
helps, doesn't it? Instead of going, damn, I have to go to work again.
yeah, and then
That
also to talk about how did I move up, and I never really worked for money per se. So my shop teacher, Michael Parasat, shout out Mr. Parasat, he always, showed me that you have to work for at least double of what you're being paid, at least double. So keep your job. Now, if you want to excel at your job, you have to be 10 times fold. So if you're working for $10 an hour, you have to produce $100 an hour worth of work for your business, for you to excel and take pride in your.
I've never heard that before. Either one of those sayings about double or 10%. And that,
if I'm not at least getting double of what I'm paying you, then I'm not getting a return on investment. Me as an employer.
Right.
Now, if I'm paying you $10 an hour and I'm getting $100 an hour from you,
right,
I'm gonna make you the man because I want you to make me other people just like you.
There you go. That makes sense. I've never heard that, but I like that.
So know how much you're bringing back. It doesn't have to apply to a specific place.
Right. But anything you do it better than anybody else or exceed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really focus on anybody else because I know a lot of general managers would say that. Hey, are you gonna beat so and so or this and that? I'm just gonna beat myself.
Right. I'm gonna do better.
Yeah.
And that was obviously because of whatever inside you drives you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just I guess it's the short man syndrome, right?
Maybe I don't. I don't know everything.
I guess it's the I'll show you.
We'll go, yeah, that could be part of it. Exactly. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. Younger.
Okay, so you're the oldie.
I'm the oldest. Yeah.
And do you find yourself them looking and watching what you're doing? Do you know?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're paying attention, but I'm sure they're looking at me. At least I would hope.
Any of them call you for advice yet?
Yeah, my sister has every now and then. My brother lives with me. He's
that makes it easy for him to see what you're doing.
Yeah, he's always seeing what I'm doing. Speaking of seeing what I'm doing, he's going to be going for a cornea transplant next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
geez, Louise.
Yeah, so it's going to be I'm going to have to be his eyes and ears or probably just eyes.
Does he not hear well too? Cornea has it affecting? I'm being smart.
I'm not sure.
I don't know your brother. I don't know. So what you were doing, we're going to cover both because you're still getting into the home care thing.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the retail management, what was the day consist of for you? Like, your task, hours you worked, anything else, etc. Yes, that in particular, and then we'll ask about the home.
Absolutely. Care. So as far as duties go with that, I mean, it's just like most businesses. There's operations that you have to do, scheduling, and
previous the day sales and who did what.
Reports. You do. You do a bunch of sales calls. Some of them are a bit redundant.
Why is that? Explain, because in case no one's done this, that's. When you say redundant, you call the same person over and over and over and over again?
Well, basically, it's me, you, and everybody that is in our same position as managers every morning, and we cover yesterday's numbers.
Okay.
And it becomes a wallpaper situation. So if I was in that,
and that was every day. Every day you were...
Almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes it would just be sporadic. Sometimes in the middle of the day.
Wow. Okay.
So I just And that wasn't with every single company, but with some of the companies that I had, it just kind of it lost its allure. Because before, if you had a sales meeting, you're like, yeah, sales meeting, let's go see what's going on. But now it's like every single day.
Yeah, I know some companies are weekly phone conference with other regional store managers and all that going over stuff, but daily. Wow. So hours, how long were you there? I know it varies, but what would you say an average that you were at your store when you were there?
So it did vary. Sometimes I was there 70 hours a week. and sometimes I was there, 40 hours a week, or sometimes a bit less if things were running smoothly.
How often do things run smoothly in a retail situation?
They don't. They don't run smoothly.
I knew that. I knew that answer. That's why.
They don't.
Just in case anybody hasn't worked retail, and yeah,
few and far between when it does.
yeah.
If you have a good crew, then yeah.
Well, that always helps, but that's
yeah,
up
but
to
that
you.
falls back on you.
Right. You got to find them and train them and make sure.
Mhm.
But even at that, people come and go, and
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's how it works.
That's how it goes.
Let's see what I'm trying to throw that one out. So what about the home care thing? You have to be licensed and all that stuff. Is that taken
Yeah.
care of at this point, or it's still process that too?
So right now we just got to hurry up and wait. There's a few alterations that we got to do to the home.
Okay.
Safety things,
Sure,
handrails,
sure.
etc.
Make
So
sure everything's safe for whoever.
there's a
comes
lot of
in.
red tape right now that we're just waiting on.
Right. And you've been in process of this for a while. How long ago did this come up? And so, in case anybody was curious about doing something like this,
So if you're gonna dive into it to kind of get things going, I would say if things run smoothly, and if they run smoothly, you get the building and everything. So it's 8 months.
Wow.
8 months until you get your first residence, or legally
Okay.
can have your first residence. And
and that's give or take.
yeah, 2 months to purchase the home. If you rent the home, I guess you can just move in immediately.
Okay.
So
You still-
6 to 8 months.
So do you find just a building and decide we're going to take
It's
that
a regular
and,
home.
and you just had to remodel and do whatever you had to do to change and
Yeah, so you want to find something that's nice and flat because some folks with disabilities have
Right,
wheelchairs, so
sure.
it's
it makes it easier for them and
It
everybody else.
does,
So no
yeah.
tripping and any more accidents that might happen or could happen.
exactly.
Limit that.
Yeah, you want to keep them safe.
That you think? I don't
You're
know.
doing your job right.
I've never ran a home, but is that how? Ryan, any questions so far?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure. Mr. King over there to the side, he's making sure Carlos behaves himself. What about you? So we'll hit both again. What about doing the retail management or retail career that you dislike that stands out? One thing that stands out that people should be aware of, at least for you, that was a major dislike, and what was a major enjoyment? So left and right.
Let me start with the major enjoyment because
How dare you. How dare you? I asked the opposite on my card. Actually, I do that. Go ahead.
So one of the things that I do miss about that is the development of people.
Mm-hmm.
And when see people grow, and that was one of the things that actually kept me coming back for more. I think if I didn't have that that pit bull mentality where I just hang on to something and I just don't let go of that 110%, I probably would have let it go a long time ago. But it's just the enjoyment of watching people grow. I've taken a lot of pride. I've had folks that living in your grandma's basement, unfinished basement, and then you leave and your credit has improved financially, your confidence has improved, because that's one of the things is it is a retail, but it's also sales driven. So it's a little bit of sales in there, or probably a lot of sales, but your confidence has gone up, and you're making a little bit, you're making more money and you feel good,
Right,
and you're
right.
moving on to other things. And I feel like in that industry is something that people can make their own paychecks and they can grow substantially, which to me that was a big thing to see, like, oh my gosh, these people are developing, and that was my major enjoyment. So moving on to what I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always things that you dislike or
Typically, every job, every career has something.
yeah. So I mean, when I would say the things that I disliked were the things that were not in my control. So
Yeah, you
so
being a
cer-
control freak.
yeah, I'm such a control freak.
That's a joke.
For sure.
Well, obviously you want to make things happen.
And
so
and some things, I did have to adapt and improvise. But when I mean, most recently, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. There was a lot of things that were not in my control.
Right. Situation at that place had changed. Corporate had bought out or multiple things, just so somebody has an idea.
I won't say names.
Right,
Of,
we don't need to
of
go into
places,
details.
But at that point, I was working for technically 2 companies.
Right,
With
exactly.
a limited amount of hands-on support. So if you said, "Hey, I need help with this," go ask your friends or go look at the book online. So there was just limited support on the companies and as far as hands-on support. So they were going to a new approach, which was less support.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah, obviously that makes it hard to do your
More
job.
resources per se.
But it's online.
It was all mostly online, and I guess I couldn't adapt to that change, or I didn't want to adapt to that change. Also, I was in a situation where generationally, I mean, I've been in the industry for 12
Yeah, I was
years.
gonna ask, you've been doing
and
cell phones for.
for a while now, and
Right.
so I've had the privilege of being in the industry where folks really valued a job. So
Mhm.
growing up, if you're in high school or even coming out of high school and you're like, "Hey man, I got a job at McDonald's," your friends are like, "Yeah, kudos,"
Right.
dab. Now if a kid says, "I got a job at McDonald's," you're like, "Oh well,"
Yeah. That's not
hopefully your Instagram career takes off. So it's just going from super enthusiastic kids and slowly going down where these young 20-something-year-olds are treating this like they're working for like they're a 40-something-year-old working for a dead-end job, and it's like it's just the beginning of life,
Right.
and you're already treating it like it's a burden.
Is-
So to me, that was just trying to get them to turn around and be
Isn't
enthusiastic.
that the culture that's going on?
It is the culture
that
that's
you're
going
aware
on,
of?
and I think that, and I won't get into philosophy too deep,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I think that comes a lot from the parents coming home, and part of my French, but just shitting on their career, like, "Oh my gosh, my boss, and this sucks," and kids are impressionable, and they see
yeah.
that they see
Oh, yeah.
mom and dad coming in, talking smack about
Negative
this or
always.
that. And then they in turn mimic what they see, and
Right.
so I was getting a lot of that, and it came to the point where I wasn't developing young eager people, and I was just more or less trying to bring them up, and also trying to abide by a set of rules,
New situation.
situations, and to me it just became a bit more overwhelming, and that was my kind of straw that broke the camel's back. I sent my wife a message. I told her, I was like, you let me know if you still want me to hang out here or not, and I won't decide otherwise. And she said, "You know what? Go." And then, because we already had that business, and we had to get that business going. I
Right.
finally had the capita. I was just sitting there. It was last call for me at the bar, and I didn't want to finish my drink,
No, I get
and
it.
my
I
wife
get it.
dragged me home.
But you guys obviously are partners. You've been together for 13 years.
We've been married for 13 years,
Okay.
14 years. Oh my
So
gosh.
you guys obviously work as a team, and I do see that a lot with younger, where they're frustrated with, no job's good enough for them. Even they want to start out, even where coming out of high school shortly afterwards, or expecting that they should be at a certain, making a certain amount of money, certain amount of a career or job
Yeah,
title.
yeah, absolutely.
I can't do this. I can't. It's like
It's beneath them, or what
Correct,
have
thank
you.
you.
And you know what? Bad habits aren't. That's not natural. It's learned.
Mhm.
So one of the things that does frustrate me about this whole boomer millennial thing, people generational genophobia, they call it.
That's a big word.
I think that's the right word.
Okay, I don't
Don't
know.
quote me though.
Yeah.
But I just feel like those millennials learned those bad habits from somebody,
Oh yeah.
right? They
Oh,
learned
yeah.
it from the boomers or the Gen Xers and what have you. So why are you going to blame them for what they're doing incorrectly, because you're the ones that brought them up?
Right. Well, and from what I noticed, once just my point of view is that you get stuck in a situation like parents my age, a little bit younger,
Mhm.
that get into a job and they start buying stuff and they can't do anything else because they have bills and responsibilities and they're stuck and they
Yeah.
can't make a difference, or they decide they won't make a difference.
Right.
They won't make a change, and it's up to them. If they're not happy with whatever job,
Mhm.
where they're living, whatever, it's up to each individual adult to figure out to make a change in their own life. But a lot
100%.
of people expect, well, I should be able to do this. I don't know why. Well, if you're unhappy, you make the difference. You make a change.
There's no initiative.
That's part of it.
I think that's just a lot of, it's just the lack of initiative. So if somebody sat here and held this candle to your elbow, are you going to sit there and complain about how much it burns, or are you going to move?
I'll probably just sit there and let it burn me.
You're hardcore. But a lot of people do.
Exactly.
A lot of people
No,
sit there and let
agree.
it burn.
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
They don't make a difference. They don't change. They just sit there and complain about what's
There's
going
no
on.
open-mindedness. Well, what am I doing wrong? So that's another thing that I've noticed is, and this is just with everybody. It's not generational, but folks don't ever pull back and say, well, what am I doing wrong?
Right. I do that constantly, and plus Ryan keeps telling me what I do wrong. My woman tells me what I'm good with that. What would you do to make a difference at this point
A difference in
the culture and
the culture?
and what what should be done? Because you are part of it. You're trying to change. You're mentoring, training, and at this point, it's
I mean, the best thing that anybody can do is lead by example. I feel like,
you.
because
I agree.
you know what, I'm not Superman, and even Superman, he gets his lickings too. There's kryptonite out there,
yes.
and the best thing that I can do is
General Zod.
is lead by example. General Zod,
General Zod.
you're nerding out on me, so
I
I'm not gonna be able to follow you.
I am such. Oh,
I know you are, so I'm
big
just
time. Yeah, thank you.
I
Thank
do
you.
jujitsu, you do that.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's the best thing is example, and I have 3 responsibilities right now that are my kids,
Right.
and and that's another thing is when you decide to procreate, you're trying to make a carbon copy of who you are in the world, so you're giving a gift to the world. I feel like
Hopefully.
so I hope so. You know what I'm saying? So with
Some
my
people,
kids,
I question their children.
yeah, thanks for your gift, asshole. But no, I mean,
No, I agree.
I feel that's the best way to change things is by example, instead of just saying, well, you should do this, or they should do that, or this happened to me. How about you just? It's like you spilt the water earlier.
I did.
What did you do? You cleaned it up, right?
Yeah, it was my responsibility. I made a mess.
You made yourself
Live and
responsible
learn.
for it.
Exactly. Well, that's the way I live my life. My parents taught me that.
Yeah.
Is to whatever in life I want to do, whatever's going on, figure it out.
Yeah.
Is it easy? No. Are there challenges? Yeah, that's life.
Yeah.
Are you teaching your children that? Being at this point, how old's your oldest?
He's 11.
Okay, so he's getting there where he knows that he's not going to start out at manager at a store. Just
No.
Okay.
No, and you know what? I have
just curious.
responsibilities for him. So he's got.
You're actually teaching him, making him do stuff at home.
I absolutely I do. There's no free rides in my house.
Wow, a lot of parents don't even. I don't think a lot of parents know that.
My wife is
able to.
I love you, Donna, but she's on the page where it's just less effort to have them do it. But to me, you didn't wash the dishes right. Well, let's wash them again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until you learn how to do that. But also, one of the things that I recently started doing is for every A that he gets for each semester, I give him $100.
Wow, there's an incentive.
So I'm about to break him off $300 here pretty soon.
Wow, there you go. And it doesn't have to be money with kids, but teach them, train them. It's a parent's responsibility. That's my philosophy.
Yeah,
Even though I don't have kids, Ryan, you have kids, grandkids,
I do.
and what are you doing to? What'd you do to motivate, incentive, to train, to?
Not enough.
No,
Not enough.
okay, thank you. I know. I actually know a couple of your kids, and you could have done better.
Jeez.
You're right.
He can cut this out. He probably will. That asshole, Vic. That's why I don't have kids. That's why I'm a judgmental prick. So, and we'll have you back on the show a couple months down the road after you got the home going. We'll go and get into that a lot more. So we're getting more of the retail thing and
Yeah,
just
man, let's talk about that.
I because you came into it, you've done it for years, and we'll get you back for the home and progression of that.
Yeah.
When you're doing the retail management or even retail, my next question is like time in the office or time in the field. What was the difference for you, and which one did you like better? Did you actually go out of the store and actually hit people up at their, wherever and try to sell that way, or was it phone, or have them at the store, or?
All angles.
Okay.
So I
Give me a couple of your.
I did a bit of everything. So with some of the companies that I did work for, they allowed some flexibility where they actually gave you a budget. So I did enjoy that. So I had somewhat of an open budget. So we would go out and go to the auto parts store and say, hey. Do you guys want us to bring you some pizza later on?
There you go. Okay. When you say budget, that means you're have a set aside of money to help
create little events and stuff like that.
Persuade, at least throw the enthusiasm for it. You want to open the door, helps open the door for what you're selling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was
that's a lot
we
of
did
outside
that,
sales stuff.
and then we'd go walk to the bus stations and chat up with some people, or when it was hot, we'd bring them water.
Yep.
So we did stuff like that, or just even stand outside of the store and try to stop people. I mean, you've seen that.
Oh yeah, flyers. If you're in the mall, just trying to get people's attention, let them know, and at least try to drag them in.
And before you know it, and that's one of the things that I told them. Before you know it, the day's over.
It's at least you're not just sitting in the store twiddling your thumbs. If it's slow, which it has been lately.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that was. Trying to get people out.
Right.
It's easy to get in a rut.
Yeah. What's the biggest misconception that people have, or the general public have, of what you do, what you did? Do you think?
Yeah. So
and the perception is, once you tell me what it is, how could you change it, or how would you change it so people would understand better?
Absolutely. So there is a distrust in regards to anything that is sales related, automotive.
Oh yeah, I've been in sales.
I would say, automotive is probably one of the larger ones. People think, people do anything for a buck, or the wireless industry.
You're talking about car sales.
Sales in general.
Car sales.
Wireless as well.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, wireless furniture, stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's that was one of the things is folks had an issue trusting you. So that's a misconception, I would say, because if you are dealing with a reputable company, there's always things to back you up in regards to that. And sometimes folks do leave stuff out. And a lot of times they don't leave it out.
The sales folks, or
the sales folks, the sales people. Sometimes it is intentional. So there is some people out there that have done some stuff that is not correct, right?
Not completely honest.
And sometimes it is not intentional, where you really can't cover everything.
Right.
Well, you didn't tell me about there's going to be a restocking fee if I brought this back.
Right.
You didn't tell me you were going to bring this back.
Right.
So there is a big thing. So I think one of the ways that if folks do want to correct that, and this is at a higher level, is in incentivizing the associates. I feel like there is a big pressure in regards to meeting quotas that they have.
Right. Yeah.
So goals, quotas. My approach would be the Henry Ford approach. So he made an example of the work industry by saying we're going to have a $5 a day budget. Obviously, right now $5 a day is nothing. Back then, $5 a day was a considerable amount, because if you were making $6,000 a year, you were a baller. So he did that so folks would work tenfold, like I mentioned earlier. So if you're working for $10 an hour, you give $100 an hour worth of work. So people were doing that. People were working above and beyond for him. So when folks, they should be incentivizing the returning customers. So then this isn't with this is one of the things that I've noticed with some of the companies is this has a lot to do with shareholders. And that's kind of a big deal for everybody right now is what is your stock worth? Tesla is went up to almost $2,000. I had to split in half, right? That's a big deal. But with some of these, wireless providers or retailers is just the net number. So the new customer is more important than the old customer.
Yeah, I see some of the advertising where I go, what?
Well, I've been paying my bill for 10 years.
Exactly.
How come you're not incentivizing me?
Yep.
So the retention factor isn't there. And then this is beyond my pay grade. I'm not sitting on anybody's
Right.
boardroom or
This is
anything.
just your perspective, and
But the thing is that should be incentivized for both angles, for a win-win situation
I
where
would think so.
where you the employee, me the owner of the company, and then the customer are all winning in the same angle.
Yeah.
So I'm incentivizing you the employee by retaining the customer. So if you upgraded a phone, you should make the same amount as the new customer, or as
Well, it should be beneficial, whatever, financially for everybody. New customers, old customers,
100%.
loyal customers. Yeah, I actually am aware. I've heard ads or watched ads going, that's new customer. What about the guys that've been there for 5-10 years that are kind of getting kicked?
And
I know
it's
some
just
people get frustrated.
it's just kind of the way the industry works, not just in wireless but in everything else.
right. Hopefully it can change. But doing all that, you meant money and income. So was it what you thought it would be?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you had benefits through the companies doing for you and your family.
I had some decent benefits.
Yeah.
My wife is a nurse. Her
Oh, so
benefits are just.
She might have some benefits better than you.
Yeah, I was on
Okay.
hers.
Okay.
Yeah. When she
With you and the kids.
with the kids and everything. So she skyrocketed, but it was, if you didn't have anything, it was good.
Right.
You weren't.
Sure. If
If you had like a broken foot or whatever, you're not gonna go broke. You're not gonna have to file bankruptcy. Because I've seen that happen with friends.
So there was benefits, healthcare, vacation. 401.
Oh yeah,
all that
and I
stuff.
had 3 weeks racked up.
Wow.
From the seniority that I had, and I managed to put my wife through college for nursing school, with no debt,
Wow.
no student
We talked
loan,
about that before. Yeah. Wow.
and I got my first mortgage. And a vehicle, and then I had a little bit of capital left over to get this business started. I mean, granted, I did start with the podcast saying "better than I deserve." Shout out Dave Ramsey.
Yes.
But
that's where that's from.
I did use a lot of budgeting where sometimes I didn't have to get the best clothes, or I didn't have to go extravagant.
No, I get it.
Because I didn't grow up rich, but I had a budget sometimes, so that's pretty easy.
You learn when you don't have anything. As long as I've gone to the extremes where
Yeah.
I grew up we were comfortable but not rich by any means.
Yeah, it's
Always
a
had
blessing,
clothes,
man.
food, and you appreciate it. And then I've gone through a phase where nowadays I have too much stuff.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff, and I think it's a blessing to grow up in near poverty or in poverty, because the bigger things that you have to get out of it. Like, it's a blessing, but you get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Figure it out.
But when you get out of it, man, I just got back from the mall. I got a haircut. I went shopping and stuff like that, and I appreciate that little bit of thing that I could do, because back then, man, I couldn't do it.
Right. Well, yeah. And mom and dad didn't enable you?
My mom
That's
did not enable me
sarcastic.
anything. So
Thank you.
she had. I mean, she did the best she could. Honestly,
Right. No,
the
and I'm
woman
not.
was great. But she showed me how to earn a buck.
So you had
100%.
clothes. You had clothes on your back.
Clothes on my back.
You ate.
I ate.
You had somewhere to live.
I always had somewhere to live.
Wow. You didn't have the newest everything. Did you have the newest phone every time? Oh, never. Back then, you probably didn't have the new phone.
No.
I'm being sarcastic because some people assume that I think their kids need to have the newest, best every time, and enable to the
Yeah.
stupidity. I've seen it, and I just kind of step back, go, I'm not, once again, not a parent, and I'm not judging.
Yeah,
but kind of I am.
I think you're kind of when you do that with your kid is you're taking vengeance on a childhood that you wish that you had, and you're living vicariously
I agree
through
with that.
You're like, I'll show you, Dad. I'm gonna spoil my kid.
or they're overcompensating because they didn't have, or they wanted to and they thought they should, or
Yeah, I think that's, and then I felt that same way when I was growing up. I was like, man, I'm just gonna have one kid and I'm gonna give everything. But like now that I think about it, I was like, well, why do they deserve anything? I'm the one that worked for it. I'll show them how to get it.
yeah, with our dogs, me and the woman have dogs, and it's like she's really softy with them. Like, and I go, honey, they don't pay rent. You know, we feed them every day.
Yeah.
If I put them in the kitchen because we're going out and we don't, yeah, she goes, but honey, no,
They're dogs.
they're dogs first of all, but yeah, she's the softy.
They'll make it in the alley for about 3 weeks tops.
They're not running away. They know. So, how many jobs? So we've pretty much covered everything. But you went from, you went to high school, went to college, doing the welding thing.
Yeah.
Out of that, you went, you did machine shop thing.
Mhm.
So we got two. The question is, how many jobs did you have before you started your current? So we'll get to the home. So there's two, retail toy store for a year, and you went into the cell phone.
I did a little stint. I did about 1.5 year stint in debt management in the middle of my wireless crisis.
So that helps you out taking care of all your debt too, right?
It does. It was a learning experience. I can talk about that.
We will hit that next time because yeah, we should have. It's real quick. Why'd you do that?
I thought I was doing people a disservice by being in retail selling them something that they didn't need.
Okay.
So then I was like, I'm gonna do something noble. I went into it. I'll make it quick. I went
worries.
into it, and I realized that everybody that is in debt because of their own fault.
And bad choices.
Bad choice. I was having conversations with some folks, and I'd be on the phone and be like, look, you can't use your credit card this Christmas because you are in debt. And she's like, well, what am I gonna do? I was like, don't use your credit card. Don't, like, stop. Well, I'm gonna use it anyways.
Yeah. Put yourself farther in.
Yeah.
You
So
made choices.
there is choices. I mean, there's those odd situations where somebody, you know, had an appendix burst and they had to put, you know, their deductible on that, but that wasn't the case. Everybody
was buying stuff and
the majority of it, people were buying stuff that they didn't need.
Right. That happens. I think that's the culture in the last 20, 30 40
Consumption is the all-American pastime.
What advice would you give anybody? What advice would you give anybody that wants to go into welding or retail or debt management?
What kind of advice?
What advice would you give?
So, I mean, it all depends on the approach. If this is something, are you gonna work for money, or are you gonna work for an experience, and are you gonna work for pride? Because the minute I started working for money, in any industry that I did that, no matter the amount of money that I made, it was never enough, and I was never satisfied with the trade that I have. It's all a matter of perspective. If you're in America, you're the most fortunate person in the world right now.
People don't see that. But
People don't see that way, and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I don't see it either, man. I didn't have to go shopping for clothes at the mall today, but the thing is don't work for money. Just work to show pride in the work that you do, no matter what you do.
Right. Do the best you can do.
And do the best you can do, and the money will always come. You know, some places you really can't, move on to where you're
but you
going.
can use that for a learning experience in life, and then
Yes.
look while you're doing. At least you got
Work
income.
for an experience, work for pride,
learn
that's-
from that, and you can always learn
no
something.
matter what you do.
And it may open up other opportunities.
Yeah.
So, what other career or what did you dream of being as a kid? Did you want to be a cowboy, an astronaut?
I wanted to be a cowboy.
Did you?
I'm not even kidding you. I grew up on a ranch.
How big a ranch?
Probably it's a small one, about 2 acres.
So my parents have 20 acres out north.
Yeah, so it was a small one. My mom rented a guest room there, and man, I seen all the cowboys there, and I was like, dude, I want to be a cowboy. I want my cowboy boots,
Right. And cowboy hat.
And my cowboy hat and everything, and I sold out. So if my 5-year-old self saw me right now, it'd probably kick my own ass. But
things change, but
I could be a cowboy later.
Yeah, you can. You can still do it.
I still got time.
Oh, you're young. You're young.
I can ride a horse.
I've ridden horses
I think
before.
that's the first step, right?
Oh yeah, my woman was an old. Could you ride horses?
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yeah.
Mr. King, when was the last time you rode a horse? Do you mount from the left or the right?
I was a teenager.
Yeah, I was probably. Yeah.
Is there a way you're supposed to mount? I didn't know that.
Yeah, one side you're supposed to mount because my woman is a horse girl, and we watched some shows where somebody was doing something. She goes, "That's what the heck? That's the wrong side." What?
Oh.
Yeah. See, look
I
at
thought
that.
you were supposed to jump off and land on top, like from the barn.
Well, that's a
From-
different. Yeah, if you're that good, but I
Yeah.
don't think you start
Well,
that
that's-
way. Maybe you do. Is
Well,
that
yeah.
what you did?
yeah, of
Okay.
course.
That's got to be good on the horse's back, isn't it?
It should be good on some other parts of my male
Yeah.
body. Hit the horn on the saddle.
That's where they go, yeehaw!
Anything else, Carlos? Thank you. Real fast.
Yeah.
We did an interview with Carlos like a couple months ago, and we were having technical difficulty. Ryan had technical difficulty,
Yeah.
and so thank you for coming back and redoing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Happy to be here.
we had fun last time, so a lot of the stuff we're re-going, and I had to remember some of the stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, he did a dead thing, and then. So anything else you want to add to anybody that's listening, doing the home thing at this point?
Yeah.
Follow a dream. Was it your dream? Her dream?
It's her dream because you know what? I can't get paid for the stuff I like to do.
Well, if you find something you like doing and you can get paid for it, that's the bonus.
Yeah, I don't mind doing it, honestly. I mean, that's one of the things that is even if you might not get paid to, you might not be able to get paid to do the things that you love,
Mm-hmm.
but do something that you can afford to do the things that you love. And that's one of the things that
Wow, I like that.
so that's one of the things that I'm doing right now with this and have done in the past. So, wireless gave me flexibility to get into the hobbies that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Second place, world tournament.
yeah, so that,
I just want to throw that.
yeah, that was fun. I mean, I wasn't ready for that, honestly. I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
So next year, going again?
We'll see if I get caught up with the business stuff, I'm not going to be able to. I had a little bit more flexibility now that I didn't have a schedule.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Right. Alrighty. Appreciate it, Carlos.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll get you back a few months down the road after the home's going. How long until you think you're going to finally have your first?
I'm hoping in after June.
Okay, so we got a few months. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up. I know how to contact you. We were in contact just recently. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Hopefully, hopefully some of the information you've gone through a lot of crap, good and bad, but you learn from it.
Hey,
You move forward. That's life, though.
You win. Either you lose or you learn.
I like that. Lose or learn. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Got anything else for him?
Nope.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Career Paths. Please subscribe. Leave a comment. It's your life. Make it happen. Next time.